Hello, this is Mississippi Home Corporation. Our mortgage revenue bond program, the MRB7, is set up to assist home buyers or first-time home buyers with closing costs and down payment assistance. There are 3 requirements that MHC underwrites for. We are not doing credit underwriting. We're only doing underwriting for compliance based on the IRS regulations, that being first-time home buyers or persons that have had no interest in a home in the past 3 years. If they're purchasing in a target area, then those individuals or that household does not have to meet the first-time home buyer requirement. Also, there are certain tracts in some counties that also that fall into this target county or target area within a county. Also, if a borrower is a qualified veteran, active or honorably discharged, they do not also have to meet the first-time homebuyer requirements. If they are married, then their spouse is also considered a veteran, so that would not disqualify them if that person had had an ownership interest in the past 3 years. Now, if there are other persons in the household, if the veteran is not married, that have had ownership interest in the past 3 years, that would disqualify them. They'd have to meet the first-time home buyer requirements. We also have income guidelines based on the county and number of persons within the household. Those income limits can be found on our website under the lender resources link, either under the MRB7 or the MCC. Those 2 programs run under the same IRS regs and income limits. The program is set up for people that need closing costs and down payment assistance. Now, there's no liquid asset limit under this program. So if they were to have the funds in order to pay for their down payment and closing costs, that would be fine, but we don't want to leave someone with no liquid asset, because we know that when they buy the home, their costs are just beginning. So this will free up and allow them to keep their liquid assets to purchase items for the home after they've moved into the home. We do require home buyer education, counseling, and I have bypassed that. Let me back up. We require conforming loans. So anyone that can meet FHA, VA, Rural Development, Fannie Mae, or Freddie Mac guidelines can qualify for this program. If you're using the HFA products that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac offer, Freddie Mac's is HFA Advantage, Fannie Mae's HFA Preferred. If their qualifying buyer's income credit qualifying buyer's income is at or below 80% of the AMI limits that are set by FHFA, they can actually take advantage of a lower level mortgage insurance coverage. If they go over the 80, then they would pay the standard mortgage insurance costs. Persons must intend to become a resident of the state of Mississippi and be a U.S. citizen or an alien admitted for permanent residency. Of course, this program is only for purchases for homes in the state of Mississippi. Credit score. Home Corporation does not set credit score limits. The servicer does. For instance, if you're selling your bond loans to Standard Mortgage Corporation, they have a minimum 640 credit score, and they have a maximum DTI of 50%. If you're selling to Trustmark, they have their own limits. You would need to contact them to see what they're requiring. All right, the assistance for the buyer is a $7,000 0% 10-year deferred second mortgage. They are signing a second mortgage note and deed of trust. But the lender is preparing all of the documents using our second mortgage note and deed of trust. But for the other mortgage documents, your LEs, CDs, all of that is generated in your name as the lender. There are documents that are provided at the closing table by you, the lender, and that is our second mortgage note and deed of trust. We have a tax-exempt financing rider, and there's 3 different riders, and it's based on the loan type. We have an FHA rider, then we have a VA USDA rider, and we have a conventional Fannie Freddie rider. That document has to be submitted to the closing table and recorded with the first mortgage deed of trust. And then there is a MRB borrower affidavit that's executed. Move on to the next one. You're eligible to use other alternate document systems to generate our documents. You can recreate our documents. You just can't change any of the language in that document. You just need to make sure that if you're using these alternate companies alternate document companies, they need to sign up for our news and updates off of our website, so they see any kind of changes in our documents, so they're keeping up with the documents changed. Now, their second mortgage note and deed of trust, they actually show Mississippi Home Corp as the lender, but you, the originating lender, are shown as the priority lender on that second deed of trust. So you're meeting RESPA and trade regs. Mississippi's tax ID number is shown here. There is a purchase certification package. This is how you get your $7,000 back. After the loan closes, certain documents have to come back to Home Corporation, that being our original note, second mortgage note, our original recorded deed of trust, the borrower's affidavit. There's also your lender wired instructions, and the CDs, the first and second CDs, and the seller CD. I'll cover the closing piece in just a little bit. The servicer might not purchase your first mortgage if we've not issued we call our purchase certificate, purchase certification. It again is generated once we get our closing package back. Now, for the $7,000, there is a 10-year requirement, and there are some events of default that could occur within that 10 years. Those events of default are if a borrower sells the home or refinances the first mortgage, or non-occupies the home, or pays the first mortgage off in full. If that occurs within the first 10 years, then the full $7,000 is repayable to Mississippi Home Corporation. Okay. Talking about the riders, the events of default. Now, within the bond program, there's also a 10-year rule with the IRS. So there's potential for the IRS to recapture some of the gain on the borrower's sale. That is between the borrower and the IRS. We advise borrowers, homeowners, to seek tax advice when they're selling their home to make sure that there's no recapture. That has nothing to do with the 10-year second mortgage. This is strictly a part of the IRS reg that if they sell within the first 10 years, then there's potential for the IRS to recapture some of the gain on the sale. The first mortgage is a 30-year fixed rate. MHC sets those rates, and they are set daily. So you would want, before you lock a loan, make sure that you're disclosing to the borrower and locking that day, because the rate could actually change. the next day. We set rates daily at 9 a.m. each day. Again, there's no liquid asset limit, and we have no reservation fee for using this program. There's also acquisition purchase price limits. If they are purchasing in a target county or area, the maximum purchase price is $309. If they are purchasing in a non-target area, the purchase price limit is set at $258. These limits and our income limits can be found on our website under the MRB Lender Resources links. Of course, there's those income limits. Now, as far as calculating household income, we count income from January 1 to December 31 of the current tax year. We count all income coming into that home, including child support. It doesn't have to be taxable income. So we are looking at all persons within the household that have any source of income. If you have a student that's working a part-time job, but they're a full-time student, then we won't count that part-time income. And we have a full-time student statement as part of our forms. We do require pre-purchase home buyer education counseling. That's part of our reservation package that has to be submitted to us within 10 days of reserving that loan, 10 calendar days. That's one of the reservation documents. We don't allow you to charge any discount points to the buyer or the seller. Okay, there's 3 packages for submission for us to approve a loan. Like I said, there is a reservation package, and those documents are due to Home Corporation within 10 calendar days. There is a compliance package we must have that before your lock expires. We have a 45-day lock for existing and new homes, or 120 days if you're doing a construction. When you lock a loan with Home Corporation, you need to immediately turn around and lock it with that servicer, whether it be Standard or Trustmark. Now, we used to require 3 years federal tax returns. We stopped that several years ago. We're only looking for the most current tax return. And right now we are in March, so we won't begin asking for the new tax returns for this tax year until April 15th. After that, we would require that return. So we're currently looking at previous tax returns. We will take transcripts or tax returns. If you're using a 1040, then we require a wet signature on that document. Actually, you can use e-signatures or digital signatures on any of our documents except for a 1040, a profit and loss statement, and our MHC letter of explanations if necessary, and also our note and deed of trust on the second. These all must have wet signatures. Now, as far as the purchase cert package, again, you would be uploading the borrower affidavit, the first and second the CDs, along with the seller CD, and you can upload a copy of the recorded second deed of trust, and then follow up with the trailing original document, and you would upload wiring instructions to us. You would also mail our first mortgage note to us. The fees that are covered within the $7,000, any allowable closing costs can be used from this $7,000. We don't pay off debt. So if somebody has some debt to pay off, you can't use our $7,000 to pay off that debt. You can charge up to 1.5 points on the origination fee. On the second CD. There are certain things that can be shown on that CD, and that would be a recording fee for the second mortgage, an application fee if you so choose to charge one for the second mortgage, and if they had to pay for homebuyer education counseling, hopefully not, and that can be shown on that second CD. Any other costs must be reflected on that first mortgage CD. They can get their earnest money back or prepaids. They can get that back at the closing. Anything else, if there are funds left over, then that must be applied as a principal reduction and reflected as such on the CD. Standard mortgage has a maximum principal reduction of $1,000. So if you have more than that, then you need to throw more money into the down payment. So you don't have any problem with principal reductions. The property must be owner occupied. This is not intended for investment properties. We allow single family, detached, we even have attached, detached, townhomes, condos that are approved. We allow manufactured housing guidelines. You would want to verify that there are no specific servicer overlays. We do have standard mortgage servicers overlays on our website as well under the lender resources links. And we do not allow duplexes. Okay, our website is at www.mshomecorp.com. You can check rates under this icon. It'll show you what the today's rates are. And again, we have a 45-day lock on new existing or 120-day lock on proposed constructions. If you can't meet this 45 or 120 day, then we allow for extensions, 30-day extensions at a cost of $50. Under the lender resources link, there is a link that says pay program fee. That's where they would pay the extension fee. You print the receipt because that document would be uploaded to Home Corporation along with the notification of change form asking for an extension. To log into the website, again, off of our website, there is this link, lender login. You just go there and you have your lender number, you have a user ID and a password. If you have locked yourself out or your password has expired, they expire after 90 days, then you would want to contact your admin for your company for them to reset your password. There are links under the lender resources link. There's a link called lender trainings. Here you can go and see the reservation process. You can get into the admin piece or the closer and post-closing links. Okay. You're reserving only the first mortgage loan. You don't reserve the second. It's an automatic lock on the second when you reserve that first mortgage. And again, you have 10 days to provide certain documents within that reservation package. You're processing the 1003, the first and second mortgage, LE and CDs in your name. And again, after locking the loan, you must turn around and lock that with your servicer. All right, we must be shown or reflected as a secondary mortgagee on the homeowner's insurance policy, and this is our information here. Okay, when we get the reservation package, we're not doing anything with that package until you have uploaded the compliance package. At that point, that's when it's assigned to one of our underwriters. And when you log into the loan, you'll see who that underwriter is. So if you have any questions, you can contact that underwriter directly to ask them any questions. We ask for 3 business days to turn a loan around. If you have any conditions, if we find conditions on the loan, we're going to add another 3 business day turn time on that. There is no rush requests. We're not going to put your loan in front of someone else's. So be sure you're giving us enough time, even though you have 45 days to provide us that package and get that loan closed. Be sure to give yourself enough time in the event that there are conditions, so you don't have to worry about extending your contract. When the loan is reserved, whoever is attached to that user, what email address is attached to that user, they'll receive emails to let them know if there are any conditions or if the loan has been approved. Once we have approved the loan, then your closers need to go into the system and print our documents: the note, the deed of trust, the tax-exempt financing rider, and the borrower's affidavit to go to the closing table. After the loan closes, then we give you 30 days to provide us our purchase package documents. There, we will change the status to a purchase certification. That lets you know that we are now going to start the process for reimbursing you for the $7,000. Okay, this is just a snapshot of when you go into the reservation, you have a reservation, there is the print forms link. So you can print individual documents. We have created a document set, which is all of the forms, and then you just print just the ones off of that doc set that you need. The system will data dump some of the information, but otherwise these are PDF fillable forms. So you can go in and insert data that's not dumped into the form itself. If you have any questions, you can contact Nidra Patton, our VP of Single Family, or Macy Carney. If you have underwriting questions, compliance guideline questions, those need to come through Nidra or the single family area. Macy is there to assist you if you have any issues with your logging in or getting through that system. Now we're going to move in and I'm going to show you the closing piece of this training. Okay, for the closing piece, this screen has changed on me, but we'll try to work with this as best we can. After the loan is closed, the lender is funding, well, at the closing table, the lender is funding the first and second mortgage. We have 4 servicers, 2 of them that do correspondent lending, that's Standard and Trustmark. Y'all are preparing the documents, and then Homes Corporation receives the second mortgage note and deed of trust, along with our executed borrower's affidavit, the first and second mortgage CDs, including the seller CD. Now, the maturity date on the MRB7 program, it is 10 years from the date of closing. So if it's March 14th, 2023, then the maturity date would be March 14th, 2033. Okay. To go out, you would look at loan lookup, find your loan. You would go to print forms, and that's where you're going to go out and you're going to print the mortgage note, the deed of trust, the borrower's affidavit, and your tax-exempt financing riders. A little bit clearer picture here. These are the forms that you're going to print. You're not going to print all 3 of the mortgage addendums. You're only going to print the one that's applicable to your loan type. All right. Then once the loan closes, you're returning our second mortgage note, the second mortgage recorded deed of trust, first and second CDs and the seller CD, the borrower's affidavit, and your wiring instructions. as long as we get the note and a copy of the recorded deed of trust, the CDs, the borrower's affidavit, and the wiring instructions uploaded, then we will begin to reimburse you for the $7,000. Our accounting department requires 2 business days to do that. Again, we've talked about, or in the earlier piece of this training, about alternate documents companies. We suggest that you use our forms just in case we have made changes and these companies are not keeping up with any changes that we've made to our programs documents. Now, to upload documents, you would go to what's called Manage Documents. And there you can either use index sheets to upload multiple documents at once, or if you've got the document saved in your system, then you can do an upload per document. All right, this is kind of what that managed document screen looks like. So here's where you would go in, you'd select the document and then upload it to us. We receive an email for every document that's uploaded. So we know when the documents are coming across, and our loan clerks will turn those packages around within 5 business days. Just to show the closers what fees are applicable that can be charged and used within that $7,000. We went through this previously. Borrowers can get their earnest money and prepaids back. Any fees, no fees can be reflected on that second CD other than a recording fee of the second, an application fee if you're going to charge one, and if the borrower was charged for the homebuyer education counseling. We see any other fee charged on that, and we're going to require that document to be corrected and the borrower will refund if there's any changes. And again, if you have any contact information or questions, whether for the closers, post-closing staff, they can contact me, Drew Patton, or Macy Carney. Okay, just to show you a little bit of information about the website, again, it's www.mshomecorp.com. Here is our lender login link. Here's where you can check for the rates. I highly suggest if you've not used or worked with Home Corporation in the past, go to any page within our website and go down and sign up for lenders and updates. This will be where you receive bulletins or notices of any kind. You click sign up here. You go in and you fill in this information and you select lenders and subscribe to make sure that you're getting any kind of news and updates. Okay. Under our lender rates, again, they'll be posted at 9 a.m. Each weekday. Okay. These are our current rates as of today's date. All right. Under the Lender Realtors link, this is where those lender trainings can be located. Lender Resources link, let me go into the lender trainings. This is where these are PowerPoints on different pieces of the system. And here you can click start and you can go into either the MRB program, MCC, Smart 6, PAT program trainings. At the end of each of those trainings, you would scroll down and hit submit. That sends it to Home Corporation, so we see that you've actually done those trainings. That will be very important if you're a new company signing up for us. We won't make the program active until you actually sign up or to go through the program training. Under the Lender Resources links, here's where you can go to where if you wanted to do an extension on your reservation, this is where you find that pay program fee. You just follow the prompts. Be sure to print that receipt. And for the MRB program, you click here. Here's where you'll find the links for our income limits. I'll open that up for you so you can see this income limit chart. If anything has a red asterisk by it, that means it's a fully targeted county, which means they don't have to meet that first-time homebuyer rule. If it's NT/T, that means that certain census tracts within the county are target or non-target. And the way you read the chart is if it's 1 to 2 in the household, if it's non-target, then we're looking at 65,000 total household income limit, or 74,750, it's 3 or more. If you're in a target area, 1 to 2 is 78, 3 plus is 91. We're looking at Alcorn County. If there is no asterisk, then that's a fully non-targeted, meaning every person within that household must meet that first-time homebuyer rule, and the income limits are set based, again, on number of persons within the household. The bottom are our purchase price limits. I'll make a comment here. If, for instance, they are trying to purchase a home and the seller is asking more for the house than it is worth, if it's over the appraised value, we will not approve the loan. Even if they have the funds to make up the difference, if that's the case, they don't need us. That's kind of how the executive committee, or executive director, and our board have taught on that rule. So if your appraised value is higher than if your sales price is higher than the appraised value, the loan will not work. Okay, jump back over here. Also, when we send out bulletins and notices, those notices will then be posted on the program that it pertains to. So you can see all previous bulletins here. Also, if you're selling to Standard Mortgage Corporation, we've got their overlays here, and I've also got Renaissance Bank for you as Renaissance Bank users. If you are unsure whether if you're in one of those target, non-target areas, there are links here. These will show you what the tract numbers are. For example, for Madison County, when you open it up, if it's in tract 305, that means it's actually in a target area. Otherwise, it would be non-target. We also have a searchable map. You click on this link and it gives you the ability to type in an address. So up here, I'm just going to put in Home Corp's address. You can see what it looks like. So you'll start seeing addresses pop up. So you click on the address, and then you would start minimizing the screen. So you're going to see if your property falls in any of these red areas, that means you have gotten into a target area. So you know what income limits to use and what your purchase price limit will be. Otherwise, you're going to use non-target limits. Okay, so you have that ability. All right. The next thing we want to go into is locking a loan. Remember this logo, this is the lender login site. So if you click here, then you would put your user number or your lender number, your username, and your password. Now, remember that your passwords expire after 90 days. If you have exceeded that and you've gotten locked, then you would want to find out who your admin is. If you don't know who that is, you can contact Nita Pratton or any of the single family underwriters, and they will let you know who those admins are for your group. Depending on what kind of user status you have, most of you will only have these options: the new reservation link, loan lookup link to find a loan that's already in the system. When you go through the new reservation link, you start entering information into the system. And I'm just going to start And continue. Okay, then you're starting to start entering loan information. You can enter your loan number here. So that way you can search on your number or our number. The purchase price. Just going to throw some numbers in here. Same thing. Or if you put everything in caps, if you could, it's not going to say you can't, but it helps keep the system uniform. Yeah, the lookup table, if you can just hit the first letter, it'll start taking you down to those counties. Census tract, if I'm pretty sure that, believe it or not, this is a required field. If you don't know the tract number, just throw any number in there. Doesn't matter. If you are working at a target or non-target, it's gonna default into no. But if it's target, then you would flip it there. Property type, these are some default. So if you have something that's different, you would click here to your table. Loan purpose, this is a purchase. And those are the only ones that we allow. And the number of persons within the household. Okay, then you want to scroll over. We're going to put in present address or what your status is on that and what your previous address was. Be sure to put their email address. It's required. Okay. You don't have to, this is not required in order to just get the reservation in the system. They must be a U.S. citizen. I'm just going to put credit score in here, marital status, date of birth. Okay. Okay. Scroll down, and this is where you're going to get into your income. So you hit insert. You put in, it's pulled in the borrower's name, the income type. We're just going to throw base in there right now and a monthly amount and hit the check mark. Once that's put into the system, then hit insert again. I'm sorry, you don't hit insert again. Apologize. Okay, after you've entered your income information, then you want to go up and hit continue. If anything is missing, it will tell you. It says You must fill in required fields before construction type, phone. Okay, so I forgot to put information in as far as phone number. So I'm going to go back. Or I thought I entered property type. Okay, so I've entered the construction type. I've entered the phone number of the information, and now we're going to go back and hit continue. And it's still saying at least one race is not provided. Okay, so let me find that information. Okay, go back here. I think I've got all the information in now, hopefully. Okay, good deal. Now we're going to get to what program we're going to use. So in this case, we're using the MRB program. You have the option to add another finance layer to this, whether it be another grant program or even our housing assistance for teachers. But we'll get to that after I select MRB. Then I'm going to select whether it's conventional target, non-target, or government target, non-target, and it will tell me what that rate is based on the date I'm doing the reservation. Now, if you want to choose anything else, I'm just going to go to choose product. So I've selected the product, and I'm now going to put in, see it's locking it in as the first lien position. I'm just going to put the base loan amount in here. I don't need the funding fee. We want to calculate the principal and interest and the loan type. We're going to do an FHA loan. See, your second lien position has already been locked in for you for the $7,000 at 10 years. And if you wanted to select the teacher's grant, if they were eligible for that program, you would select that here as well. Okay. All right. Then we continue. And you now have a lock, and it's the 45 days expires on 4/28/2023. It was the MRB program for $145, $145,000 at 5.79. Okay, and you haven't got it locked until you submit. All right, so now it's locked. And then you would want to go to your print forms, and you want to print the reservation confirmation. That is separate and apart from any of the doc set, so you must print your confirmation. So you would download that, and then you would download your documents. I'm just going to open up the document set. Okay, it'll open it up as PDFs. And again, it will dump certain data in. So it's got your borrower's name here, loan number. You're going to send us the reservation package, so you're sending us this information. Okay. And you'll see what we want, what we need for our compliance package for us to actually approve the loan. And here's the closing package. Now, the notice to mortgagor, it's pulling in the original loan amount, but when you click into the form and tab over, it's supposed to calculate. Okay, on the recapture tax form, there is apparently some problem with the formatting on this top piece. In the interim, you can actually go back to the MRB Lender Resources link, and there is a recapture form there that will calculate this top portion. I did go in and the county has locked in, and you just throw in the income limit for 1 to 2, and you're going to put the same for 3 or more. And then when you tab through, it will calculate this portion for you. Okay, income calc worksheet. Again, we're looking at all household income. So your primary wage earner, secondary wage earner, and any other sources of income. So if anyone else in the home has income, whether it be SSI, you have a senior parent living with you, disability, all of that income is counted and you calculate it out to an annual amount. The borrower certification. This form basically is the IRS regulations on one page. It's put your borrower in your county, but you need to tell us if they've had prior ownership interest, they have or have not. You put in what the current calculated income annual amount is and what the income limit is set for that 1 to 2 household or 3 or more for the county. Put the county name here again. And then your purchase price limit. What's your purchase price limit? What's the acquisition limit? It's either that 258 or 309 amount, whether it's new or existing. Again, what county? The lower portion of this form, this is where you're going to put your sales price. If you have any of these additional costs, you insert that and then total it at the bottom. The only time I've really ever seen this portion of this being used, if you have leasehold, you're going to find out what that ground rent is and add it to your acquisition price and make sure it does not exceed the acquisition limit. It is signed by borrowers and co-borrower. If you have a non-occupying co-borrower or co-signer, they don't sign these forms. We're only getting signature from the occupying borrowers. That's true for any of our forms. Then we have a non-borrower certification. If there's someone else in the home that is of age to have owned a home in the past 3 years, they would certify who they are. They will or won't be occupying the property, and then whether they're have had ownership in the past 3 years or not. The reason why it says will not be occupying, again, it's if you are using if someone had been married and not divorced, we have to count that borrower's as spouse's income. You're either married or you're not. So that income is required. They would have to provide tax returns, the whole 9 yards, and that they would have to meet that first-time homebuyer rule as well. So that may stop a deal dead right there. Okay. If you don't have child support in the household, this is not a form that would be required, and you indicate whether they certify that they do or don't receive child support. They would list the names. We're looking at your 1003. We're looking to see if there's dependents. If they have a different last name than the borrower, we're going to start asking for divorce decrees, child court documents, whatever the case may be. If they're not receiving child support when they should, even though the documents state they are supposed to receive, then they would provide this form and also a letter of explanation stating that even though the courts have deemed they're supposed to receive child support, they're not receiving it. Okay. The next form is our notification of change form. If you need to extend a reservation, you would select, uncheck these. I don't know why they're coming across as checked, but if you wanted to do an extension, you would click this and you would tell us which program and you would provide us a new closing date. If you're increasing or decreasing a loan amount, this form would be used. If you want to change from a government to conventional or conventional to government, you would let us know as such. You can actually keep a reservation, keep the rate, and find another property if the property doesn't qualify. So you would let us know that here and write in anywhere what the new sales price is as well. If you, for some reason, are going to be able to help this borrower and the borrower wants to go to a new lender, you can actually transfer the reservation. You would let us know who you're transferring the reservation to and what city location they are at. And if all else fails and nothing, if you're not going to be able to work with this loan at all, then you would select cancel, give us a reason, upload that, and then you, as a user, you have the option to cancel the reservation, but this needs to be uploaded first. These are samples of those tax-exempt riders. Again, you have one for an FHA, one for VA USDA, and there's one for Fannie or Freddie. Again, this document is referencing the tax-exempt financing of the mortgage, first mortgage, so this has to be recorded with the first mortgage deed of trust. You need to let us know who the attorney is. Even though we're not funding the loan second at the table, we still need to track who this settlement agent is and document what that final loan amount is as well. This is our LOE. You need to, if you are going to write a letter of explanation, you must use our form. Okay. And again, it requires a wet signature. Notice to borrower. This is the documentation or disclosure to the second. It outlines what their events of default are. Again, that's if they sell or refinance or non-occupy or pay off that first mortgage within the first 10 years, then the full $7,000 is payable back to HomeCorp. If none of those events of default occur, then after the 10 years, we satisfy that lien and it's forgivable. It's forgiven. This is a closing document. This is our borrower's affidavit. And this is what another document that would go to the closing table, along with our second mortgage note and deed of trust, and one of those tax-exempt financing riders. This is an example of our note. So you would put in the property, county, the date of the document. It shows them that the loan is deferred for the 10 years or not making a second mortgage payment to HomeCorp, and it would be executed by the borrowers. You're providing us your NMLS information and for the originator and the company. The second mortgage deed of trust. Again, it's just fill in the blank. Pretty simple. Borrower's name, property address, date of the document, the borrower again. Here is where the county property, where the property is located. This is the date of the note, the date of your closing, and again, the maturity is 10 years from the date of that closing date. Here's where you're shown as priority lender, your company name, and the first mortgage loan amount. And again, the document is executed by the borrowers. You're providing a notary acknowledgement, again, NMLS data, and your legal description. So those documents are all there for you. If for some reason we are conditioning the loan for something, say our income calc worksheet, something's wrong, you don't have to reprint the whole document set. You have the option to go back and remove this. Okay, so I'm going to shut that document PDF down. All right, then you would go back and you go to manage documents. Once you've got everything provided to us, then you're ready to upload. Now, again, you can use an index sheet and you would have to print the index sheet. If you want to select all, print those index sheets, place them on top of each of the corresponding documents. So if you're creating a stack, then you would scan that stack into your system and come back and upload, select the document stack that you've saved and download or upload. It'll give you the option to upload. If you are doing individual documents, if you, again, say we condition the income calc worksheet, then you would just fix the document, save it in your system, and upload it here. Okay. You won't have the option to upload closing documents until we've taken that loan into a purchase or conditional commitment status. You'll have then the option to print all the closing documents. That's why you can print that document set and get all your closing documents there. Okay, well, that's the process to get a loan reserved, and the income guidelines and the limits. We have a manual on each of the lender resources links. They are PDF searchable documents, so you can put in keywords. If you have questions, again, if you can't find something that you're looking for, then feel free to contact the single family department and ask them any questions that you have. Again, if it's something that is pertaining to your servicer, then we suggest you contact that servicer for any questions that you may have for that program. And if you, again, we appreciate your working with Home Corporation, and we're here to help you if you need it. Thank you.